In this episode, you'll learn why denying your shadow makes it stronger and how to integrate the parts of yourself you've been hiding. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. Here's 3 things we'll be looking at today. The first is why the things you judge most harshly in others are the things you've disowned in yourself. Number 2, how your shadow, the rage, the greed, the lust, has power you're wasting by suppressing it. And number 3, the integration practice, acknowledging your darkness without acting from it. So, right, the big point here is when you deny the shadow, it gets stronger. And rather than denying, we are going to be integrating. A little idea here is you don't chase things, you plant a garden. You don't seek butterflies, you plant a garden. Okay? That will come up multiple times. I just wanted to give you a little bit of context in the form of a short quote. Now, the things you judge most harshly in others being that which you have disowned in yourself. Now, this is, you pair it to the Bible, right? Christ says, you need to remove the speck in your eye before telling your brother about, and really what it is it's not a speck in your eye. It's actually a plank, right? And when your brother has a speck in his eye, that is just the speck. So in other words, judge not, for you will be judged. Why the things you judge most harshly in others are the things you've disowned in yourself. If you are judging others, usually the world is not as it is. The world is as you are. The world operates in a mirroring fashion, right? For example, the narcissist problem. Oh, you start getting into psychology, and then you're really the narcissist, but you're judging everyone else around you, throwing labels on them, right? Just because you learned a little bit of psychology and specific terminology. This happens in many different fields, many different hierarchies and hierarchical kind of tiers, if you will, in corporate, in in business, in work. There is continuously this opportunity for us to look at ourselves. Now, my dog just opened the door. I'm going to be right back because I know not everyone in my house just wants to hear me talking all the time. So, 1 second. So, where were we? We're really deciphering the nature of judgment. And I'll tell you a little story. I know I've told this story before, but a few years ago, I was at the gym. Never seen this lady before. She's on the elliptical. She's moving crazy, right? She's moving in a extravagant manner. I notice it in my mind. And then it's kind of like when Christ says to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan." He knows Peter is his disciple. But the moment that Peter is kind of obsessed with the things of man, right? Worrying about Christ as a man. That's not the spirit. That's not the water. That's the flesh. So, in other words, it is this beginning to notice the moment that you are thinking in a fleshly sense. In judgment is of the flesh. So I can see that in myself the moment that this arises. I'm like, who am I? Who am I to think that I know better than her? She's at the gym. Shout out to her, right? Who am I to judge another? I'm not that guy. So you look at the plank in your own eye, right? Before gossiping about coworkers, about judging others' behavior. There's how do I put it? This is the importance of having someone intelligent whom actually knows how to listen in your life. Me, I pay someone to do this for me. He's, in other words, labeled my coach. For you, hey, I'm here for you if you need someone to talk to. But in the broader context, sometimes you just don't have anyone, right? Pen, paper, devotional music, listen to Christ's words, read the Bible, look at the Gita, read, immerse yourself in the essence of what Rumi writes about. So you may be a little bit troubled there, especially if you're Christian, when I list different religious structures. The truth is that the truth is, and I am, and it's that simple. Now, to actually embody the essence of being light, it takes letting the shadow arise, okay? Think about it like this: the grander the light, the larger the shadow. So, what I'm saying is that you being able to sense with awareness, with sensitivity, nervous system communication, gut, heart, mind, elements, the unseen, the incommunicable, being nothing. The awareness of that extravagant game which consciousness is playing through many different vessels and forms. That doesn't bring us to a non-dual point. The world is filled with duality, light and dark, evil and love, right? It's not as even as if evil is the opposite of love, because love permeates everything. It's like, do you really think evil battles with light? No. The devil was employed by God for the play. So, what is he saying? I'm not saying evil is acceptable. That's part of the play. There has to be duality for the game to be a game. In other words, if we really make this simple and practical, notice the moment that judgment arises in you, okay? It comes in the form of thought. Thought always has stimulus, patterns, cycles. Can you break them? You can't change anything you're not first aware and willing to recognize could change, okay? So awareness is always the starting point. Now, this is the deeper aspect of the Bible. Now, in religion, in philosophy, not many people are able to bing, 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 always hit the nail on the head. That's not me saying I always hit the nail on the head. I'm saying rather that words are words, and the essence is not within language. So the reason I speak in the way that I speak, without saying step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, drawing you a perfect map, is because your map is different from my map. The nature of a map is the nature of the map. It's as if, how do I put it? I'll use another metaphor, right? In the sky, you have clouds, but what's beyond the clouds? The sky. But we look at the weather, right? We react to the weather, we talk about the weather, but the essence is the underlying. Another example, you have a painting, right? Without the underlying canvas, then the art could never be appreciated. So there has to be this delicate, intricate, okay, I know that I am nothing, but me being nothing is exactly what allows God to work through me. And then it may look like, oh, he has done something, but it's always because of God. And it's always because of the nothingness that you multiply what you have been given. What you have been given is sensitivity and awareness, not material goods. If you are given a gift, you don't just bury it in the ground, right? And live out of fear and say, oh, you're a fearful God, and I know all of this, so I buried it in the ground. No. God gave you life. God gave you breath. God gave you consciousness. Are you going to multiply it by 10? Right? When others judge you, you don't forgive them 7 times. Add a 0. 7 times. What, 7 times 10 or 7 times 70? 7 times 70. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying that if you are to disown yourself, you are to be lost in self-judgment. But if you are to be aware of judgment, then you can define it. And only once you notice it, then you can catch it as it arises. And that is exactly how Christ was able to say to Peter, his disciple, get behind me, Satan. He didn't say, Peter, you're a little this, you're a little that. He said, get behind me, Satan. Do you understand? It's that level of, you know what? It's God first, and it's always God first. It's not my friendships, it's not sugarcoating, it's not rainbows, flowers, and donuts. It's God first. Yeah, you probably know. I went through a breakup recently. Absolutely heartbroken. Holy woo! The amount of love that I have for this lady. eh, Hey, what can I say? All redirected to God. And that's I think the main purpose of relationships. Now, I'm not to say that marriage isn't true or that having children. I see myself getting married and I see myself having children. But in the meantime, you cannot judge your life. You have to see that God is working and positioning and crafting and giving you these situations, circumstances, and experiences to deepen your faith. That's what it always comes back to, right? What's the number one commandment? It's love your God. Number two, treat thy neighbor as thyself. So even with this girl who's broken my heart, send her love. I can't hold on. I can't say, oh, this and that. I've already been shown so much which I was previously blind to, right? The openness for even me. Now, I'm not self embezzlement right now. I'm just saying, even for me, I am grateful to go through such a heartbreaking experience. Why? I'm a better man, baby. I'm a much better man because I couldn't just run, ignore, and act as if I played every card right, you know? And then slowly and surely, started to speak to me, show me all these little things I was missing, show me all these little things that I just didn't know could be better. And how do I put it? That is the gift. That's the gift that you get brought low. The meek will inherit the earth. Let yourself be brought low so that everything multiplies. Because when you're brought low, your faith goes one place, right? It's not in yourself. It's so much. And then, how do I put it? There's another test, right? Because those who are brought low, those who live in alignment with God, will be given resources. When you get those resources, those achievements, those accomplishments, when people say, "Oh, look at you," what do you say? "Oh yeah, I know, I'm great." You can be playful, but the cornerstone of your message of your life must always be the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is that which is greater than I. Everything that comes after I am is nonsense. So, I am. How are you what you are? Look above. Look around. You have been created. You are the creator. You wield the power. The moment that you think it's just you, you lost it. But it's in you, and you are the creator, and you are powerful. And I will tell you that. But the moment you think you're special, you've lost it. Every single human has it. Now, the degrees, the variations, the destiny, the way each human life unfolds, it's God's story. His story. History, his story. He's writing it. Not you, not me. And you may say, oh, well, what about free will, right? What about free will? The nature of life is such that you have the free will, and that will lead you to evil. And as you go into evil, you naturally learn. You naturally learn. And what happens is that the root to evil gets eroded by the water and the spirit. The only way the water and the spirit would ever come into your life is such that the world is filled with duality. If God did not employ the devil to do what he does, then there would be no transformation. There would be no change, right? It would just be the galaxy, the infinite, and nothing. And what I'm saying here, really, just because we're 15 minutes in, and I don't want you to leave this podcast being like, what did I just listen to? Very practically, the world is not as it is, the world is as you are. It's your duty to do this work. Now, the work is, let's look at point number two, how your shadow, the rage, the greed, the lust has power you're wasting by suppressing it. In other words, You turn darkness to light when you look into the darkness. If you act like the Pharisees, like you know things, then you wouldn't even recognize Jesus Christ if he was fucking standing in front of you. Because they couldn't. Why? Because they thought they knew. Self-righteousness is going to send you to hell. But righteousness without self-confidence or the self is purity. You have to throw away your life. You have to be able to say, all that matters is God. You look at your shadow, you notice the rage, you notice the greed, the lust, and instead of suppressing it, you're honest about it. That honesty will bring you low. You'll say, man, I don't know how to get rid of these things. I do not know how to change. Christ, God, I pray that you show me what I need to see. Can you guide me? Can there be a communication between us? Because I need you. I can't do this through willpower, through logic, through force. I fully surrender. And I know that I'm powerful, but this power, it comes through you, not my divided sense of self. This is how the sense of self actually enlightens. Literally, the alchemy, the weight of what you carry changes. It's not as if the cross is a burden. The cross isn't a burden. It's an honor. It's a gift. So, when you decipher the moment, the instant that Satan arises in the form of rage, greed, lust, lower vibrational emanations, you can feel frequencies. Words that sound weird are vibrations and frequencies, but literally it's written in your blood and bones. All you have to do is stop fucking thinking about it. It's all written on you, his story. It's written within you. The hard part is that we are conditioned from birth. Now, times are changing, all right? We're in 2025. In consciousness, we're living through a spiritual earthquake. Humanity in the next 75 years, different. Absolutely reborn. So, what I'm really saying, let's just use point number 3 to make it practical. The integration practice, acknowledging your darkness without acting from it. Okay, when you look, you have a choice. You have a choice to say, why me? Why me? That's entertaining Satan. What if? What if? Entertaining Satan. Rather, do something that allows for that to go away. In other words, work out, good music. Go on a walk, instrumentals. Go on a walk, notice the darkness. Let it be there. Pray while it's arising. Breathe. Sit down and breathe. Prayer pose and pray. Read the Bible. Read the other books. Read them all. You can't just read one. I mean, you can, but see, this is where I'm not here to tell you what to do. My path, it's going to be different than your path, okay? If you are a Christian, well then listen to all of the specific things that I've said directly from the Bible, all right? And then can you feel the friction in your heart? Can you notice the attachment to only one way? Because the bottom line is words are words. If you can feel what I'm saying, then you would feel that what I'm saying is coming from a place which is not of division. And that is all that matters. And if you still can't, then that is also okay. I'm not here to tell you you're meant to see anything differently. I'm just sharing, and sharing, and being, and being, and being. I do not care whatsoever about changing others. I care about the genuine impact that being who I was meant to be can do, can have. And it's that simple. When, who, doesn't matter to me. That's all already written. So, when you acknowledge your darkness without acting from it, what you're doing is you're having the power, the courage to walk into the darkest part of the forest, to voluntarily, right? What do they say? If your right hand is to lead you into sin, well, then cut it off, because it's better to enter the kingdom of God maimed than live in hell forever. This physical life, it's hard. It's meant to be hard. So acknowledge the darkness and let your heart be changed. Change is born through recognition that change is possible. All right? I love you very much. We ran a bit long, and that's all right. These are only going to get longer and longer. They could also be shorter. Boy, I love you all very much. I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Smile, okay? Do some things that are going to make you feel smiley, okay? New episodes are out Monday, Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. A couple little things, just fuck announcements, but all right. If you want to get into amazing shape, description, okay? Put together a book. There's also a video series, which is not in the book, but it is a optional purchase. And there's also a nutritional series. So the video series is specific exercises. The nutritional series is also in video format. It's basically a decade plus of fitness and spiritual kind of practical information distilled in a very organized manner as simply as possible to prevent any overwhelm. It's going to get you going immediately. So, just if your body is not where you want it to be, well, it's all through God, okay? And you can change. You don't need any of the information that I packaged, but I did package it because it took me over a decade to learn everything that I put into that, the book in both of the videos. So, there's that. And the other thing is, I probably should have said this first. If you're still here, I appreciate you. No, I don't appreciate you. I love you. And share it with a friend, okay? Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Let's go.